Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. A storm front swept across Poland last night, bringing with it violent winds. Firefighters recorded over 5,000 incidents across the country. To prevent accidents, almost 50 scout camps had to be evacuated and over 200,000 people were left without electricity. Yesterday, Poles received warnings against strong winds and storms. The reality, however, often exceeded the imagination. In western Warsaw, lightning struck near a 30-year-old man. He survived but was stunned. The police called an ambulance. Warm and cold air collide over our country that releases energy into the atmosphere. The weather forecast issued first and second degree warnings. Greater readiness was in force in the northern part of the country and in the south. Up to 60 millimetres of rain per square metre can fall there. If so much water appears in an urban area, it will cause catastrophic flooding. The wind can blow at up to 95 kilometres an hour, which is one that can uproot trees, and hailstones of up to 2 centimetres in size. The situation in the city of Łódź in central Poland was even worse. The downpour led to flooding and over 5,000 people lost access to electrical power. The authorities called in firefighters, energy services and the Territorial Defence Force to deal with the threats to the region. We received 1,500 reports of damage caused by the storm. In half of these cases we managed to intervene. The rest are in line. Storms and downpours will persist over Poland until the end of the weekend. More than 1,000 people are missing in flood-stricken regions of western Germany and Belgium, where floodwaters were still rising. The death toll is already well over 100, and some communications in some areas have been cut. According to the Deputy Foreign Minister, Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki has offered Chancellor Angela Merkel assistance in dealing with the devastating floods which have hit Germany. Some 114,000 households in Germany were without power on Friday. And mobile telephone networks had collapsed in some flooded regions, which meant that family and friends were unable to track down their loved ones. The German military has deployed over 700 soldiers to support rescue efforts. Armin Laschet, North Rhine-Westphalia Premier and CDU Chancellor candidate, said the flood has had catastrophic proportions. An unprecedented flood has hit our country. In cities like Hagen and Altena, in Stolberg and Eschweiler, in the district of Euskirchen and Bergische Land region, the masses of water have caused damage of unprecedented dimensions. In Rheinbach and Zwistal, rescue workers and residents are still fighting the devastating consequences of the storm. And in Erstadt, and at the Steinbach Dam in particular, the situation remains critical. In the Erstadt district of Blesem, it is downright dramatic. Widespread evacuations have therefore been and are being carried out. Many people were unable to spend the night in their own homes last night. And in these hours, together with the municipalities and the many volunteers, we are doing everything we can to prevent further damage to people and save lives. Entire communities lay in ruins after swollen rivers swept through towns and villages in the western German states. President Joe Biden and German Chancellor Angela Merkel agreed on Thursday that they will oppose any effort by Russia to use the contentious Nord Stream 2 pipeline as a weapon against neighbouring nations such as Ukraine. The completion of Nord Stream 2, an $11 billion gas pipeline that will run directly to Germany from Russia under the Baltic Sea, has long been a source of tension between Washington and Berlin, otherwise close NATO allies.
My view on Nord Stream 2 has been known for some time. Good friends can disagree. But by the time I became president, it was 90% completed. And imposing sanctions did not seem to make any sense. It made more sense to work with the chancellor on finding out how she would proceed based on whether or not Russia tried to essentially blackmail Ukraine in some way. And so the chancellor and I have asked our teams to look at practical measures we could take together and whether or not Europe energy security, Ukraine security are actually strengthened or weakened based on Russian actions. And so this is we'll see.
In May, the president waived sanctions against Swiss-based company Nord Stream 2 AG, which is running the pipeline project, and its German CEO. Nord Stream 2 AG is owned by the Russian state energy company Gazprom. Biden has opposed the completion of the pipeline over concerns that it would allow Moscow to gain increased political leverage over other European nations and more control over energy reserves. In particular, the United States fears that the pipeline would threaten the security and economy of Ukraine by depriving it of crucial gas transport revenues. The Visegrad Group is one of the key formats for regional cooperation, said the deputy head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Szymon Szynkowski-Welczak, summing up Poland's annual presidency of the V4, which ended on June the 30th. From the 1st of July, Hungary assumes the presidency of the V4.
Prezydencja polska w Grupie Wyszehradzkiej zakończyła się spotkaniem premierów w Katowicach.
The Polish presidency of the V4 group ended with a meeting in Katowice on June the 30th. After 12 months of the Polish presidency, this presidency was taken over by Hungary. The highlight was the celebration of the 30th anniversary of the group's establishment and the summit of the leaders of states in Krakow, which took place on February the 17th. Worth pointing to the intensity of the work of this group. The prime ministers met 20 times, the ministers of foreign affairs 9 times, and ministers from other ministries met 40 times. Finally, there were 12 high-level meetings.
Warto wskazać na statystykę, która pokazuje intensywność naszej prezydencji.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business, and more programs. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.